So, I finally bought an electric vehicle. It's taken me like 3 years of wanting one of these, and I finally bought one. But it's not the one all of you were expecting. It's not the one I said I was gonna buy. Back at the beginning of this year, I took a IONIQ 5 for a drive. Well, drive is a bit of an understatement. I took it 4,000 kilometers across the east coast of Canada, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I pre-ordered the IONIQ 5, and I wanted one really, really badly. But things didn't really work out the way I wanted them to. So what ended up happening was I pre-ordered the car, and it ended up coming in like a month or two before it was supposed to. And it surprised me because at the time I was buying my first house. In fact, the closing date was only like a week or two away. So when Hyundai gave me a call, the local dealership, and said, "Hey, your IONIQ 5 is in, come in and pay for it," I said, let me just check with a few things first. And the prevailing advice from the internet was, it's probably not a good idea to buy a $60,000 car, Canadian of course, right before you buy your first house. Because the lender might look at you and say, you're kind of high risk, we're gonna pull out. Obviously, I didn't want to risk losing the mortgage on my house because of an electric vehicle. So I talked to the local Hyundai dealership, and to be honest with you, I was kind of less than impressed with their response. They were a little bit snippy, they really wanted the car sold. They basically said, if you don't come in and purchase this car on Friday, we're gonna have to give it to somebody else. So that was kind of annoying, but I ended up agreeing with them. You know, there are so many other people in the list waiting for this car, and it could be given to any one of those people. So I said, okay, fine, give the car away. I'm gonna have to go find something else. So anyway, I was in this kind of liminal space because I just purchased my house, but I really wanted that EV. I've been waiting for a long time. I had the money to buy one. I just didn't know which one to get. And I started shopping around some more, and I came upon this car. This is a 2023 Mini Cooper EV. And I was really confused by it because on paper, the specs weren't that impressive. But yet I saw so many reviews of this car that people were absolutely raving about. Like, they loved this car, and I just didn't understand it. The Mini Cooper to me was a little bit of an enigma. I had never driven one before. I saw them on the road and I thought they were kind of cute looking vehicles, but I didn't really understand why people loved them so much. So I ended up doing a bunch of research on the Mini Cooper, not just the electric version of the Mini Cooper, but the Mini Cooper in general, because I'd never driven one and they were genuinely interesting little cars. And I ended up kind of getting sucked in. You know when YouTube kind of figures out something you're interested in and then it just surfaces you like 300 videos of that same topic? Well, that's what ended up happening to me. And after about 2 weeks of doing my research, I said, you know what? I've never driven one of these before, but I kind of want one now. So what I ended up doing was finding a pretty cheap 2017 Mini Cooper 5-door. It was the base model Mini Cooper 5-door, so probably like one of the most boring Mini Coopers you could buy. And I said to myself, if I really enjoy this car, then the Mini Cooper EV will be insane. So that's what I did. I went out, I bought the 2017 Mini Cooper, and I drove it around the Cabot Trail. And this is one of the most renowned driving roads anywhere near me. And if any of you have ever driven it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is an absolutely stunning driving road. There's so many twisties, so many hills, valleys, canyons, beautiful scenery all the way around, and it's a coastal trail. I say trail, but it's a roadway. And it was one of the best experiences I have ever had in my entire life. Not only because the scenery was beautiful, but because the Mini Cooper was so much fun to drive. And I came out of that experience and I pre-ordered the Mini Cooper EV. And now that I've had this car for the past 3 or 4 weeks, I gotta tell you, I love it. Don't get me wrong, it has its shortcomings, plenty of them at that. But I have fallen head over heels in love with this vehicle, and I'm going to tell you all about it right after I thank the sponsor of this video, Shocks. This is the Open Run Pro by Shocks, a pair of premium wireless headphones with a 10-hour battery life, enhanced bass, and 9th generation bone conduction technology. Because these headphones don't actually go inside your ears to block your ear canal, it's perfect for when you're out and about and you need that situational awareness, like say you're going out for a run or if you're cycling on the road. Not to mention, it is way more comfortable to have something like this resting against your head instead of actually having buds in your ears. The way bone conduction works is by allowing the transmission of sound vibrations to the inner ear bones of the skull, which allows you to hear music without relying on an earbud to project the sound into your ear canal. These things are water resistant, they have dual noise canceling mics for phone calls, and they charge extremely fast. Like 5 minutes of charging will give you an hour and a half of listening time. There are 2 sizes available now, the standard Open Run Pro like I have, and the Open Run Pro Mini if you have a smaller sized head. Click on the link in the video description below and get a 45-day risk-free trial of these headphones along with free shipping and returns to the US and Canada. All right, so this is not gonna be a full comprehensive review of the Mini Cooper EV. I'm gonna put together something a lot more detailed once I've spent some more time with it. But for now, my first impressions of the Mini Cooper Electric, the Mini Cooper SE as it's called. So let's start with the driving dynamics because that is the single best thing about the Mini Cooper EV. I've been told by so many people that the Mini Cooper SE is the most fun Mini Cooper to drive, and I believe them because it's the most fun vehicle that I've ever driven in my entire life. And it's not because it's super fast, because it's not. It's a quick car. 0 to 60 is somewhere in the 6-second range, and that's not fast. But the fun part about this vehicle is how it handles. It is just glued to the curves. This thing is just so much fun in the twisties, and it's exactly the same way I felt about the base model Mini Cooper. This car was actually built on the exact same platform that all the other Mini Coopers were built on. It's kind of a parts bin car, actually. They took the electric motor from the BMW i3 and then just planted it in a regular Mini Cooper. Obviously, there's a bit more complexity than that. It's not so straightforward as I'm making it sound, but because it shares the exact same platform as the Mini Cooper, it's something that they've been working on for such a long time, it just feels so refined. It's a blast. Like I said, it's not fast, but it's quick and it's fun. The other thing I really like about the Mini Cooper that I wasn't expecting is how quiet it is in here. Yes, electric vehicles are made to be quiet, but these are frameless windows. There's no frames up at the top, and usually with frameless windowed cars, you don't expect them to be super quiet. They're not as well insulated, but honestly, I'm impressed. This is one of the quieter cars that I've been in. In fact, it feels quieter than the Model 3 that I drove a couple of years ago. I'm not exactly sure on that. I'd have to test them back to back, but it definitely feels much quieter than the Model 3 was. It's also extremely comfortable in here. You see a Mini from the outside and you expect it to be cramped and uncomfortable, kind of like a clown car because it's such a small vehicle. But it's not. In here, it feels incredibly roomy. And like, I'm 6 foot, almost 6'3", and there is tons of headroom up here for me. And it's a very comfortable driving position. Speaking of comfort, we gotta talk about these seats. These seats are only available in the top trim. They are the Chester Satellite Gray or something. They have a strange name, but this is like an English cream colored diamond stitched leather seat, and I had to have these seats. They look absolutely amazing in here from both the inside and the out. They just take that premium experience to the next level in this Mini Cooper SE. They're all manually adjustable. There's no motorized seats in here, which I actually found a little bit strange for a car of this price point. But I mean, how often do you adjust the seat? If you've got multiple drivers, yes, it can be annoying, but I'm the only one that's going to be driving this vehicle. So I set it and forget it. I don't care. The other minor complaint I have at the moment is the heads-up display. I like the fact that it has a heads-up display, but I'm gonna guarantee you right now that I'm probably almost never going to use it. It's one of those pop-up style ones with the little plastic piece that it really isn't that much different from just looking down at your cluster, your gauge cluster. It's nowhere near the level of the IONIQ 5, unfortunately. The IONIQ 5 had a fantastic heads-up display that just mirrored right on the windshield in front of you, so you really never had to take your eyes off the road. This one really does not feel like a step up from just looking down at your gauge cluster, and I just have it turned off almost all of the time. The single biggest downside that I see everyone parroting about the Mini Cooper SE is the range. And I'm not downplaying it. Like, the range is certainly a downside. The maximum I can get is around 180 to 200 kilometers maximum. That is the full range from 100% to 0. And that's a problem for a lot of people. If you've only got a single car, like if this is your only vehicle that you intend to drive, road trips are going to be an issue. But this is not my only vehicle. My fiance owns a 2018 Subaru Crosstrek, and that vehicle is going to be the main vehicle that we use for road trips, for taking the dog places, that sort of thing. This is a city and back roads car. That's what I bought it for. That's what I'm going to use it for. And for that, it is ideal. It's super comfortable. There's plenty of room in the back once the seats go down for groceries or anything you need to pick up. And it's so much fun to drive in the city and in the back roads. If you go into it with that mindset, if that's the reason you're going to buy this car, then you will love it. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna love it. Obviously, this is still my first impressions. I'm still probably not out of that honeymoon phase yet. Nothing has gone wrong with the car. I've got 800 kilometers on it. So, like I said, take my first impressions with a grain of salt. This is not a full, detailed review of this vehicle, but at the same time, I cannot see me disliking this car at any point in time. It is just so much fun. It is such a lovable car, both on the inside and out, and I can't wait to spend more time in it and give you a more full, detailed, comprehensive review with all of my pros and cons in the future. So anyway, hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.